My child, this night is not a coincidence. I saw you here when the world grew quiet and no one else was paying attention. I watched as the hours slowed, as the noise faded, as stillness surrounded you. While others slept, distracted or numbing their thoughts, you remained awake not only in body, but in spirit. You believed this night was just another moment passing, but heaven marked it long before weariness ever touched you. I saw you in the dark, and I called you here on purpose. You thought you were just awake late, that sleep would not come, that your mind was restless for no clear reason. But I was calling you into a divine appointment. I have always spoken most clearly. When the world grows quiet, when masks fall off and hearts become honest, night strips away distraction. Light exposes what daylight hides. And tonight, I wanted you alone with me. Not because you are strong, but because you were willing to stay. I have been calling you quietly for a long time. In small nudges, in gentle thoughts, in moments you brushed aside because life was busy and loud. Again and again I spoke softly, hoping you would turn your ear toward me. Tonight I am calling out, and not to scare you, not to overwhelm you, but because the time for whispers has passed. Will you answer this time? Not with words alone, but with attention, with openness, with a heart that stays instead of drifting away. This message is not for everyone. Many would have turned away already. Many would have told themselves they were too tired, too busy, too distracted to listen. But you stayed awake when you could have walked away. You stayed when it would have been easier to shut this out and return to what feels familiar. That choice, even if it felt small to you, mattered. Heaven noticed it. I noticed it. What you did in the dark caught my attention. You did not announce it. You did not seek praise for it. You simply stayed. And staying when no one is watching reveals the truth of the heart. What I am about to reveal to you will shock you. Not because it is harsh, but because it is honest. It will shock you because you will realize how close I have been, how carefully I have been guiding you. Even when you thought nothing was happening, do not miss this moment. Heaven scheduled this meeting long before tonight arrived. Long before you knew what you would be feeling. Long before you knew you would be awake at this hour. This moment was written into time. I am not late. You are not early. This is exact. This is intentional. And this moment carries weight because it will not come again in the same way. You did not pull this off by chance. You did not end up here because of boredom or habit. I allowed it because your heart was listening, even when you did not realize it. There is a sensitivity in you that has been growing quietly. You feel things deeply. You notice what others ignore. You wrestle with questions others avoid. That is not a weakness. That is calling forming inside you. This is not a coincidence. This is a calling. Coincidence has no voice. Calling does. And you are hearing it now, not with your ears alone, but with something deeper. Something inside you recognizes that this moment feels different. Evie, more real. That is because I am speaking directly to you, not to a crowd, not to the world, but to your heart. I am speaking now because silence would cost you more. Silence has already stretched longer than you expected. You wondered why I did not answer sooner, why certain doors did not open, why clarity seemed delayed. But silence was not absent. Silence was space. Space for you to notice. Space for you to grow tired of noise. Space for you to become willing to hear what you once resisted. If I remain silent any longer, you might mistake delay for direction. And I love you too much to let that happen. Stay with me. Do not rush ahead. Do not pull away. Stay present in this night, because this night will mark you. You may not understand everything immediately, but understanding is not the first requirement. Attention is willingness, is staying, is I am not asking you to solve your life tonight. I am asking you to recognize that something holy is happening in the quiet. I know what this night feels like to you. It feels heavy but not hopeless. It feels intense but not dark. It feels like standing on the edge of something you cannot fully name. That is because your spirit knows what your mind is still trying to catch up to. You are standing at a threshold, not one you forced open, but when I invited you to. You have carried questions you did not know how to ask. You have felt tension between what is and what could be. You have sensed that there is more, even when you could not explain what that more looks like. Tonight I am not giving you all the answers. I am giving you myself, because answers without presence do not last, but presence reshapes everything. Comment. Father, my heart beats for you if you've experienced His mercy firsthand. I know you are tired, not just physically, but inside, tired of waiting, tired of hoping carefully, tired of being strong quietly. That weariness did not push me away. It drew me closer. I speak to you now not because you have it all together, but because you finally stopped running from the stillness where my voice could reach you. You may feel unprepared for what I am saying. You may feel unsure if this really applies to you. Let me tell you something clearly. If this were not for you, you would not still be here listening. Your spirit would have closed off. Your attention would have drifted, but you are still here. And that tells me you are ready to hear, even if you do not yet feel ready to respond. This night is not about fear. It is about truth. It is about alignment. It is about a heart finally quiet enough to listen. I am not here to accuse you of what you have not done. I am here to call you into what you still can do. There is movement ahead, but first there is listening. There is response, but first there is recognition. You do not need to understand everything I am about to unfold. You only need to stay. Stay with me in the quiet. Stay with me in the tension. Stay with me. Even if your heart is racing, I am not overwhelming you. I am awakening you. You have wondered before if I still call people personally, if I still speak into ordinary lives during ordinary nights. Let this moment answer that question. I am here, I am speaking, and I chose this night because it stripped away enough noise for you to hear me clearly. Do not treat this as just another message. Do not file it away with things you meant to return till later. Leah has already taken enough from you. This moment asks for now, not action yet, not answers yet, just presence, just openness, just honesty. Stay with me. Breathe. Let the weight of this moment settle, not as pressure, but as purpose. This night will mark you, not because you stayed awake, but because you stayed with me when I called. My child, this is the night I called you, not loudly, not with thunder or force, but with a pull you could not explain. You felt it as restlessness, as a refusal of sleep, as a quiet tension that would not let you turn away. You may have told yourself it was nothing, that you were simply awake too late. But I knew exactly what I was doing. I know the night well. I know what it removes and what it reveals. And I chose this hour because your heart would be uncovered here. The night exposes what the day hides. In daylight, you perform, you manage, you explain yourself, you distract yourself, you carry roles and expectations, noise and movement. But when night comes, those layers fall away. There is less to hide behind. The questions grow louder. The truth feels closer. This is why I often come at night, not to frighten you, but to meet you where your heart is honest. I did not wait for you to be strong. I waited for you to be real. I speak when distractions are gone, because that is when you can finally hear me. During the day, your mind is crowded. Even when you pray, your thoughts compete with urgency and pressure. But at night, when the world slows and voices fade, your spirit rises to the surface. That is when you notice what you have been carrying. That is when your longing speaks. That is when your fear admits its name. I was not absent during the noise. I was waiting for the quiet. I saw you and no one else did. I saw you sitting there awake with thoughts circling and questions pressing in. I saw the weight of you not speaking out loud. I saw the strength you have been using just to keep going. Others see your smile, your effort, your consistency. I see what happens when you are alone. I see the doubt you manage, the hope you protect, the faith you carry quietly without applause. This is why I came to you here. This is where you could finally stop pretending you were fine. You did not have to announce yourself to me. You did not have to call my name loudly. I was already near. I always am when the night settles in. You may have felt alone, but you were never unseen. Every time you stared into the dark, wondering if anyone understood, I was there. Every time you sighed without words, I heard you. This night is not proof that you were forgotten. It is proof that you were remembered. Light obedience carries weight because it costs more. It is easy to obey when everything is clear, when others are watching, when affirmation follows quickly. But obedience in the night is quiet. He is unseen. It is chosen without reward. When you stay, when you listen, when you do not turn away, even though no one would know if you did, that obedience rises like a fragrance. Heaven notices what is done in secret. I notice and I treasure it. Please support our channel. Our efforts are focused on bringing happiness into your life and encouraging devotion to God. If you wish, you can show your support by donating through Super Thanks. I am not asking you to fear the night. I am asking you to recognize it. The night is not a punishment, is a place of meeting. Many of my greatest conversations happened in the dark when hearts were open and defenses were lowered. I did not come to overwhelm you. I came to draw close. You are not being tested right now. You are being invited. I know the night can feel heavy. It can make emotions feel stronger, questions sharper, uncertainty closer. But do not confuse intensity with danger. Sometimes intensity means truth is near. Sometimes it means something important if you are safe with me here. I did not bring you into the night to lose you. I brought you here to speak to you without interference. You may wonder why I chose this particular night. Why now? Why this hour? It is because something in you was ready to listen differently. Not perfectly, not confidently, but honestly. You were no longer running from the quiet. You were no longer filling every space with noise. You stayed that matter willingly and opened the door for this moment. I want you to feel intimacy here, not pressure. Oh, not fear. I am not standing far away watching to see if you fail. I am close to speaking gently. Even when my words carry weight, I know your frame. I know your limits. I know how much you can carry. That is why I speak the way I do, firm when needed, soft where you are, tender. The night strips away your illusions about control. During the day, you can believe you are managing everything. At night, you realize how much you are holding together by effort alone. That realization is not meant to shame you. It is meant to free you. You do not have to carry everything. You do not have to figure everything out. You only have to stay with me long enough to hear what matters. I saw you when you all turned away tonight, when you considered closing this moment and returning to distraction. I saw the choice you made to stay. A choice as small as it felt is significant. It tells me your heart is listening even when your mind is unsure. It tells me you are willing to be present even without understanding the full picture. That is all I ask at first. Do not rush this moment. Do not hurry to conclusions. Let the night do its work. Let the stillness settle you. Let my presence steady you. You are not being pulled into something dark. You are being drawn into something deep. Depth often feels like darkness until you realize it is simply beyond the surface. I am not here to expose you in a way that harms you. I am here to reveal you to yourself in a way that heals you. The night is honest, but it is not cruel. It shows you where you are, so you can move forward with clarity. I am not disappointed in what I see. I am compassionate. I see effort. I see longing. I see faith that has not given up, even when it has grown quiet. Night obedience is not about grand actions. It is about staying awake when your spirit is being stirred. It is about listening when it would be easier to numb yourself. It is about choosing presence over avoidance. You did that tonight. That is why I am speaking. That is why this moment is different. You may not remember everything that is said here. You may not understand all of it immediately. That is not required. What matters is that something is being marked inside you, an awareness, a sensitivity, a willingness to hear me when it is quiet. This night will stay with you, not as fear, but as clarity. I want you to know this deeply. I am not distant from you. I am not hard to reach. I am not waiting for you to impress me. I meet you where you are, especially when you are tired, honest, and alone. That is where relationships grow. That is where trust deepens. That is where calling becomes personal. Stay with me a little longer. Let the night be what it is meant to be, a place of meeting, a place of truth, a place where you realize you were never alone. Even when no one else saw you, I saw you. I called you. And I am here with you now. My child, you thought this moment was random. You thought it happened because of timing, habit, or chance. But nothing about this night slipped past me unnoticed. Nothing about your being here was accidental. Long before you learned how to measure time, long before your life began to fall into routines and patterns, I planned this encounter. Before the world knew your name, before your story unfolded the way it has, I saw this exact moment and said, and quote, "Here, I will meet them," and quote, I want you to release the idea that your life is a series of coincidences stitched together by luck or circumstance. That belief has quietly weakened your trust without you realizing it. When you believe things are random, you carry the weight of uncertainty alone. But when you understand that I am intentional, even in what feels ordinary, you begin to rest differently. This night is not a gap in your routine. It is a point of alignment. It is not an interruption caused by chance. It is a meeting arranged with care. This moment was scheduled before creation, not in the way humans schedule events, but in the way purpose is woven into time. I do not react to your life as it unfolds. I see the whole of it at once. I knew the questions you would carry. I knew the nights you would feel restless. I knew the moments when you would finally stop running from the quiet. And I knew exactly when your heart would be ready to listen, without pretending it had everything together. Divine timing does not bend to human routine. You build your days around habits, responsibilities, and expectations. You assume tomorrow will resemble today, and next week will resemble this one. But I move outside of that structure. I step in when routines fail to satisfy and when patterns no longer hold you. I do not wait for convenience. I wait for openness. And tonight, openness found you before sleep did. You didn't find this moment. You didn't discover it by accident or stumble into it because you were searching hard enough. I brought it to you. I guided your attention here gently, without force, without noise. I allowed your usual distractions to lose their grip. I allowed restlessness to rise just enough to keep you awake. I aligned small details that seemed meaningless on their own, but together led you here. That is how I work quietly, intentionally, faithfully. There were unseen forces at work long before you noticed anything unusual. I was aligning circumstances you could not see. I was slowing some things down and speeding others up. I was allowing certain doors to close so you would not drift elsewhere tonight. I was protecting this moment without announcing it. You felt only the result, not the orchestration. But heaven was active, while you were simply awake. I want you to understand that divine orchestration does not always feel dramatic. Often it feels ordinary. It feels like a night where sleep does not come easily. It feels like a moment where something inside you says, stay. That quiet pull is not a weakness. It is sensitivity. It is the part of you that responds when I draw near. You did not force this moment open. You responded to it when it arrived. Trust begins to grow when you realize how much has already been arranged on your behalf. You have blamed yourself for things that were not your fault. You have taken responsibility for delays that were actually protection. You have assumed you missed my will when I was simply guiding you through a longer path. At night I want to lift that burden from you. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are being led carefully, even when the path bends in ways you do not expect. I know you sometimes look back and wonder how different choices might have changed things. You replay moments, conversations, decisions. You ask yourself if you arrived here too late or too early. Hear me now with clarity and peace. You are here at the right time. Not because every choice was perfect, but because my guidance does not depend on perfection. It depends on the relationship. I can work with your honesty, your questions, your pauses. I am not fragile. My plans are not easily broken. Divine timing often feels slow until suddenly it feels exact. You waited longer than you wanted in some seasons. You moved faster than you expected in others. You thought those shifts were random. They were not. I was teaching you to let go of control. I was teaching you that life unfolds best when you trust me with what you cannot predict. This night is part of that lesson, but it is also part of the reward. You are beginning to see that there is meaning even in moments that once felt empty. Say you're my first and final love. Lord, if your heart belongs only to Him, you may be tempted to ask why I did not make this clear sooner. Why did I allow you to believe it was random for so long? The answer is gentle. Clarity has weight. If I reveal everything too early, it overwhelms instead of strengthens me. I reveal what you can carry when you can carry it. Tonight, you can carry this truth that you are seen, clear's throat guided, and intentionally led. This truth is meant to steady you, not burden you. Unseen alignment does not remove choice, it creates opportunity. I align this moment, but I did not force you to stay. You could have turned away, you could have closed yourself off. The fact that you are still here listening tells me something important about your heart. It tells me you are learning to trust even when you do not have proof. That kind of trust grows quietly, but it changes everything. I want you to let go of the fear that you might miss me if you do not do everything right. That fear has made you tense when I want you to be attentive. I am closer than you think. I am more involved than you imagine. You do not need to chase me down. I come to you. I step into your nights. I speak into your stillness. I meet you where you are, not where you think you should be. This night is not a test you can fail. It is a meeting meant to deepen trust. Trust that I know how to guide your steps. Trust that I know when to speak and when to wait. Trust that what feels random to you is often carefully timed by me. You do not need to understand all of it now. Understanding will come in layers. For now, awareness is enough. As you sit with this truth, let it soften you rather than stiffen you. You are not being watched for mistakes. You are being cared for with intention. I am not distant. I am deliberate. I am not absent. I am attentive. Every detail of your life matters to me, including this quiet night that you once thought meant nothing. You will look back on this moment differently one day. You will see how it connected pieces you did not know belonged together. You will recognize how it steadied you before changes unfolded. You will understand why I chose to speak now in this way at this hour. Until then, trust me enough to stay present. You thought it was random, and now you know it was planned. Not to control you, but to invite you. Not to overwhelm you, but to reassure you. Not to rush you, but to remind you that you are never moving through time alone. I am with you. I have been guiding you, and I will continue to lead you with the same care that brought you here tonight. My child, I speak when the world is quiet, because quiet removes the masks you wear without knowing you are wearing them. During the day, you are surrounded by voices, demands, movement, and expectation. Even when you try to listen, those sounds compete with my voice. They crowd your thoughts and pull your attention outward. But when the world grows still, when noise loosens its grip, your heart finally becomes audible. That is where I speak. Not because I am weak, but because I value honesty more than performance. Silence creates hearing because hearing is not about volume, it is above attention. I have never needed to shout to be powerful. I speak with clarity, not force. But clarity requires space. When your life is filled with constant input, your spirit learns to skim instead of receive. You hear many things, but you absorb very little. Silence slows you down. It creates room for depth. It allows my words to sink past your thoughts and into your spirit, where transformation happens. Noise blocks spiritual awareness in ways you do not always recognize. It does not only come from sound, it comes from pressure, urgency, comparison, and endless activity. You move from one task to another, one concern to the next, and you call that productivity. But productivity without stillness slowly numbs discernment. You begin to react instead of listen. You begin to decide based on urgency instead of wisdom. I do not withdraw when you are busy, but busyness can make you unavailable to hear me. Many miss me during busy hours, not because I am absent, but because they are divided. Their attention is split in too many directions. Their prayers become right. Their listening becomes shallow. They ask for guidance but do not stay long enough to receive it. This is not failure. It is human. But it is also why I draw you into quiet moments like this. I am not competing for your attention. I wait until you can give it freely. The night creates vulnerability because it removes distraction. You cannot hide behind schedules or responsibilities. You cannot pretend you are fine just because you are moving. At night, the questions you avoid during the day return. The feelings you suppress rise gently to the surface. The fears you silence speak softly. This vulnerability is not. Weakness is truth, and truth is where relationships deepens. I speak in the quiet because that is where you stop performing for me during the day. Even your prayers can become filtered through habit and expectation. You say the right words. You present the version of yourself you think I want to see. But at night you are simply you, honest, open. That is the heart I speak to. I am speaking because you are listening. And you are listening because the world finally grew quiet enough for you to hear. My child, there were times before this night when I called you and you hesitated, not because you were rebellious, not because you did not care, but because you were human. I want you to hear this without heaviness in your chest. I am not bringing these moments back to accuse you. I am bringing them back to bring understanding. Memory, when guided by truth, does not wound, it teaches. I remember the first nudge. You felt gentle and quiet. It came as a thought you brushed aside, a feeling you told yourself was imagination, a sense that something needed to change, even though you could not explain why. You felt it in small moments when life slowed just enough for you to notice. You did not ignore me because you were cold. You paused because you were unsure. And uncertainty can feel safer than obedience when the path ahead is unclear. Type, I adore you, Jesus, more, each moment if His Spirit renews your life, and share this video.